saw that guy from grocery outlet. Oh man, we're getting a grocery store.
I've never known you for that.
He said, "You're in Washington, right?" I went, "No, Kingston, Tennessee."
Say it's close. We still need one.
That's what I told him.
Okay, you are recording, so.
We're making a deal, though. What?
All right, I'd like to go ahead and open up the public hearing for ordinances 23050901 and 23050902, adopting the annual budgets and setting the tax rate and water and sewer rates for the fees for the fiscal year 23-24. If anyone wishes to speak on that, please come to the podium. We'll keep this public hearing open until 6 o'clock. What is it? You know if Philip's coming?
I think. I'm sure.
Stephanie's in there with David, and Tony's not going to be here.
I worked last night.
I was up about as long as you were. I was up after midnight. Went back up at 6, went to Nashville and back. You okay?
You gotta be dead.
I am pretty tired. Left at 7, drove to Nashville, had a meeting, turned around and drove back.
She came by yesterday. You called? Yeah.
Hmm?
You called yesterday?
Well, I just called checking on you.
Had to go with her. You not coming?
Yeah. Oh, who was it? Oh, yeah. From your plant.
Yeah.
Where was he coming from?
Nashville.
Oh,
Governor Lee put him on there.
should have gone what?
He is on the athletics something or other for the state of Tennessee. He's got his own parking place for the captain.
Oh, we did. We had to walk.
He came behind. He called me from Bucky's. He said, "Hey."
Wade wouldn't even stop at Bucky's for me today.
That's just wrong.
I know, well, he didn't either. Said he stopped at like 5 o'clock in the morning, and they just pulled 4 buses in. That's the first time that I've even drove by it. I'd not been west in I don't know how long. I think they're going to try and do one for the one at Sevierville. Yeah. It'll need to. 407 is bad enough. Oh no, you mean from Florence? From yeah.
He's building another one in Ocala. Or down where our friends are at. Chris called me. He said, "Yeah, can't wait to come back." He said, "They're building Bucky's out here. It's about 2 miles from the house." I love it.
I've never been in one.
I've been in twice. looked at me, Richie, I'm a big lady. And she looks, yeah, she's gonna wear a face, yeah. That thing down there, I went, around, how many's in this? She said, oh, just one, you look like you needed it. That thing weighed, I guarantee you, 3 pounds. I mean, it was just.
Good,
massive.
good.
She cut it in half, I got out there, I hung down my looking. And Martha, oh, you got tomorrow. It was huge, it was probably 3 pounds, it was loaded with peppers, onions,
See,
chicken.
like I said, I've never been to one anyway, so.
We'll get that one out here, you go.
Yeah. We're getting one in Galahar.
Yeah.
We'll start that rolling.
That's waggles.
I was telling Kelly, I told you, Kelly sent me a text yesterday and said, this guy from grocery outlet wants you to call him. I was thinking, all right, that's good. So I called him. And he's called in here and called me by name and everything.
Yeah, Mayor Tim Neal.
And so I called him and I said, hey, I'm Mayor Tim Neal, and wanted me to call you. Yeah, I want to talk to you about where we're going to put this grocery outlet. I said, okay, where are you going to put it at? He told me something. I said, where? I said, I don't know what you're talking about. He said, are you close to Kingston right now? I said, no, I'm in Oak Ridge. He says, are you in Washington? I said, no. We're in Kingston, Tennessee. He said, oh, well, I got the wrong state.
She said, well, hey, well, I got you.
I did.
That's right.
I did.
That happens a lot in the water department.
That's what she said.
Wrong state, yeah.
Wrong country.
Yeah, wrong country.
And they'll argue with you.
Yeah.
The ones from Canada will argue.
Why will they argue?
They'll give a street name, and I'm like, what?
What street?
And you know where it's at inside? It's inside your jurisdiction. I said, no. I have to get your visa stamp to get that.
Or the confusing thing is when they actually have a street name like our street name, and then you really.
What does this mean?
The website might be down, or
Water and sewer ordinances.
I made it to city manager's report.
Very good.
is any of the other ones coming up? Anything else?
I come from the old man from the mountains.
Just be a link broke or something on that.
Hi, sir. How are you?
This was coming Is anyone here to talk on the ordinances about the annual budget and the water rates and water fees for next fiscal year? So we're still in the public hearing. If you wish to do so, stick up to the microphone and state your name.
Hi,
Yes, ma'am.
my name is Mary Rutherford, and I live at 2406 Kingston Highway in Kingston. We've lived there 35 years, and we've always been on septic tank. And our bills have been about $45.
Ma'am, it is, right now, we're in a public hearing for the budgets for next fiscal year. We've not started our meetings yet.
Oh, I thought he said something about the water.
I think they were just talking.
Oh, not yet?
So, no, not yet. I'll let you know when.
Okay.
this, Kelly, once we pass this tonight, we'll have to change these other fees right here. On here, this certain line.
Yes,
Yeah,
after,
there's gonna be a lot.
after it passes tonight, then yes.
Okay.
They won't go into effect until July, but,
Probably, I was thinking it'd be August.
You be scared?
well, Marcia's on, and I understand what you're saying, I had this exact thing with Marcia the other day, but you're gonna have half and half.
Yeah.
So Carolyn always made Marcia go ahead and change it July 1 for the July billing.
Okay.
Because really they're in effect. Because it's gonna be a half and half anyway.
Yes. You couldn't tell?
Yeah, I thought that's who it was, I just wanted to make sure.
Well, Miss Candy, I'll quit. I quit sounding like a horse, don't I? Like a horse jawing.
How do you get this to ride? Tilt it up. On the flat side.
I wish I knew how to pull it over where you can ride on it. Can we? Take our agenda, and then you go somewhere with it, then you ride on it.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
You have to download it to your files,
Okay.
then open it up on your files tab.
Okay.
Yeah, 30 minutes to figure that out.
I didn't know what to look for. I'm down with it.
You go out tonight? We can do all that.
Okay.
Mhm.
Jordan Ford.
Yeah. And what did that cost?
$350.
Still got about a minute and a half.
I think we're gonna start doing these for 10 minutes.
I think that's plenty. Very rarely do we have anybody come say anything.
The water thing,
Which,
just the sewer stuff, people's been showing up talking.
yeah.
I didn't know if anybody with the dispute to water rates or.
Ready? Does anyone here wish to speak on the two ordinances we have for setting the annual budget for the city and water, and this is the public hearing. Seeing none, I'll call the public hearing adjourned and open up the regular meeting of the Kingston City Council. I'd like to ask everyone to please stand. I'd like to ask Mr. Gwynn if he'd lead us in the invocation. Mr. Childs lead us in the pledge of the flag.
Our Heavenly Father, God, I thank you for this opportunity, Father, that we can be a blessing to this city, have us in sound mind and good talk, and make sure that we make great decisions. And Father, just remember, it's all about you, and we do this in Jesus' name. Amen.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. You may be seated. Madam Clerk, will you please call the roll?
Councilmember Bradwell. Vice Mayor Brown. Councilmember Childs. Councilmember Gwynn.
Here, present.
Councilmember Johnson.
Present.
Councilmember Wright.
Present.
Mayor Neal.
Present. Do I hear a motion to approve the previous minutes as written?
I'll make that.
Motion by Mr. Childs, is there a second? Second by Mr. Bradwell. Any corrections or deletions to the minutes? Okay. Madam Clerk, will you call the roll for the minutes, please?
Councilmember Bradwell. Councilmember Childs.
Yes.
Councilmember Gwynn.
Yes.
Councilmember Johnson.
Yes.
Councilmember Wright.
Yes.
Mayor Neal.
Aye.
6 ayes.
Now we set aside time for citizens to address the council. This will be only for city council business. For water board business, it'll be in a later meeting after our city council and beer board meeting. So is there anyone here to address the council on any city business? Yes, sir.
Good evening. I'm Alan Lutz with the Rhone Alliance, and I just want to give you an update of some of the things that the Rhone Alliance has been doing and that we have planned. And the Finance Director Kelly here is going to hand out copies. There are some copies right there on the on this chair if you want to get a right there. So I'm going to refer to the items in the packet in the order that you see them there. Just want to let you know, for example, on Wednesday, May 10th, we held a job fair. The job fair was actually held in Rockwood. We had 20 businesses that attended the job fair. 50 job seekers also showed up. And of all the companies that responded to the survey, all but one of them said that they would be hiring people that they had met that day. Somebody. So there was an article covered in the Roane County News on the back of it. I won't go any further detail. One of the programs that I manage for the Rhone Alliance and Roane County is the Tennessee Scholars Program that I do with Roane County schools. You've got in front of you a packet or little sheets of paper here that's within a program. This year we had 70 students from all 5 of the high schools, to include the virtual academy, that were Tennessee Scholar graduates. You've got the program that lists all the names. It's pretty obvious when you look at it. The majority of the students came from Roane County High School, and so they're there. Also, we gave out scholarships this year, 11 $500 scholarships from the Roane County Tennessee Scholars Program. This sheet of paper has the list of those 11 scholarship students. Additionally, in partnership with Roane State Community College, the Roane State Community College Foundation gave out 6 $500 scholarships, and those students are listed here with the names of the schools that they were at. And to put some faces to names, what you have is a page that has all the high schools and the names of the students. The only high school that's not pictured here is the Virtual Academy, because they were virtual and they weren't at the meeting that day. We gave this, the program is for an award ceremony that we started back this year doing it. During the pandemic, we had to quit doing the award ceremony at Roane County High School, where all the Tennessee Scholar students came and they had a breakfast and were all recognized. County executive came out to that, school director, had many representatives, Roane State Community College, TCAP. Switching to a little bit different subject, I am also on the Roane County's Broadband Accelerate Program, where we're trying to get more broadband support. The county executive is working with us to help get a grant, but we at the Roane Alliance have also helped with distributing the survey that we want to get as many people within the county as possible to complete, so we have a better idea of who has broadband access from their homes, their businesses, and who doesn't. So these were two of the social medias that we did this past week, actually Monday, that went out, and it's in our newsletter also. On the back side of that is some of the advertising we're doing for Kingston's 4th of July Smoke in the Water Festival. The first one you see there is Facebook post, and at the bottom you see their billboard. We actually have the announcement for the event on 2 billboards. One is in front of Handy Burger or right nearby it, and the other one is on US 27 across from Walmart in Rockwood. So that billboard's in those 2 locations. So that's something we're doing for the county and with the county, or Kingston. Also, the next sheet of paper talks about the Kingston Bass Tourney, where we helped publicize it, helped to recruit individuals. These are some social media posts that you see. And at the before the advertising, identifying who the different sponsors were. We also provided financial sponsorship for the program, and of course distribute information through social media about the winners. The bottom right, you see some of the other advertising we do for the county and Kingston. For example, here is about boat rentals. And there's 2 boat rental areas within Kingston that we've talked about. And finally, this back side of the sheet of paper, on this one here, we actually had 2 people going out today doing photography and meeting with the, if I remember, Mr. Sims at Fort Southwest Point. His first day apparently was today, I was told. And he gave a tour of the fort. They did a lot of photographs, and it's going to be used for marketing purposes for Kingston and Roane County in the coming months. They're doing a summer campaign blitz. I'm not personally involved with that side of it, but this talks a little bit about that. So I just wanted to give you some overviews, a little bit of what we've been doing and have been doing. And if you have any questions about any of that, I would be happy to answer any question I can.
Does anyone have any questions, Mr. Lutz? Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, and thank you for handing them out.
Is there anyone else wish to address the council tonight? Yes, sir.
First of all, I'd like to thank all of you for becoming elected officials. It's a job not sought after by many. I just have 2 short things. One is, I don't understand, I'm trying to understand what the sewer system is, to why Kingston doesn't allow an on-site system.
Mr. Smith, this is city business in this meeting. We have a water board meeting after we have this meeting, a beer board, and then the water board, and that's where we discuss all the water issues.
So, it's right after this one?
Yeah, it'll be, I'll let you know when it is, after, it's the 3rd meeting of the night. Okay.
Thank you.
Mayor Neal, just Dudley Evans, Rockwood, Tennessee. Just want to give you a special invitation. We're putting on a show at the Princess Theater June 30th. It's a great way for you to get your, use that tonight. A great way to start your 4th of July weekend. We're doing a Grand Ole Opry style show at the Princess on June 30th. And we're helping Family Promise, Roane County. You know Charles Elmore, he started that new foundation. And we just want to extend an invitation to everybody. If you can't make it, and I'm sure he'd like to have your donation, but it'll be at 6:30 June 30th at the Princess. It's a 3-hour show. We'll take an intermission. My son and daughter, Temper Evans Band's going to be there. Trent James. I got Roy Poole coming from Knoxville. Is going to do some Frank Sinatra songs. Our Saturday Night in the Grove Band to be there as well. I might even sing a song or 2, who knows. But thanks for coming out. If you can, June 30th, 6:30. And I'm sure Charles would love to hear from you as well. So if you can help us, just want to give this invitation to all the members of council, the staff, and the public for doing that. Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you. Anyone else? All right, seeing none, we'll go into reports. Ms. Johnson, do you have anything to report?
I do not.
Ms. Wright?
I do not.
Mr. Gwynn, do you have anything to report? Mr. Childs?
No.
Mr. Redwell? I can't think of anything right offhand. I'm sure I'll remember something in a little while, so I'll turn it over to Mr. Bowie.
Thank you. Mayor, I'll report a few things since nobody else stole my thunder tonight. So just a reminder, I sent an email out earlier in case you haven't seen that, just a reminder of the TVA open house that will be at the community center tomorrow night at 6:30. Hopefully some of us can be there to take part in that. Wanted to let you know, I mentioned this briefly last week in regards to our STP project for Ladd Boulevard. The utility coordination period is set to expire this week. 9 of 13 utilities surveyed have responded. All were no conflict, so that's good news.
Really?
Yeah. Not a big surprise, but good news nonetheless. That report will be compiled, sent to TDOT, and we'll be waiting on the notice to proceed to construction. So hopefully that won't take too long. Couple projects that you've recently funded, the roofing projects at Southwest Point and the fire hall have both been completed. Renovation work is still going on at the fire hall, and JRA staff are looking at more improvements to the fort with some of the money we saved. So probably our next phase will be completion of the wall, but we're still looking at some options down there. So be on the lookout for that. Regarding the fort, as Mr. Lutz mentioned, it is once again staffed. It'll be reopening to the public next week, and the hours going forward will be Tuesday through Saturday from 10 to 4:30. So we're anxious to have Saturday hours, and hopefully that will help with foot traffic down there. Finally, plans have been finalized for the 4th of July. You'll be getting more information. You'll be seeing it online. If you haven't already, the festivities will begin at 5 o'clock. And this year we're going to be changing up a little bit, specifically with the footprint of the event. We're going to be moving our music from City Park to the amphitheater. We're also going to have kids' activities and food vendors at both 58 Landing and the community center. In addition to City Park and Gravel Pit, we think that's going to help alleviate some of the congestion problems that we've had, and also allow us to better utilize other facilities for the event. For people's convenience, we'll be running a shuttle van that day between the three sites. Looking forward to it. Like I said, going to have a little bit different look, but same great event. So that'll be coming up very soon. And that's all I have, unless you have any questions.
See, anyone have any questions for the city manager? Okay, seeing none, we'll go right into the agenda. Item 7 is addition of items of the meeting agenda received after the close of the agenda deadline. There were none. We'll go into 8, unfinished business. Item A, consideration of the second and final reading of ordinance 23050901, an ordinance of the city of Kingston, Tennessee, adopting the annual general fund operating budget and setting the property tax rate for the fiscal year beginning July 1, 2023 and ending June 30th, 2024. Do I hear a motion for this second reading?
I'll make the motion.
There's a motion and a second. Ms. Wright.
Thankful for another year of no tax increases.
Mr. Quinn, any comments? Council. Madam Clerk, call the roll on that ordinance.
Councilmember Bradwell?
Yes.
Councilmember Childs?
Yes.
Councilmember Gwynn?
Yes.
Councilmember Johnson?
Yes.
Councilmember Wright?
Yes.
Mayor Neal?
Aye.
6 ayes.
Item B is consideration of the second and final reading of ordinance 23050902, an ordinance of the city of Kingston, Tennessee, adopting the annual water and sewer fund operating budget and setting the rates and fees for the fiscal year beginning July 1, 2023 and ending June 30th, 2024. Do you hear a motion for this second reading?
I'll motion.
Motion by Ms. Johnson, second by Mr. Bradwell. Ms. Johnson, do you have anything?
No.
Mr. Bradwell. Council. Madam Clerk, call the roll.
Councilmember Bradwell?
Yes.
Councilmember Childs?
Yes.
Councilmember Gwynn?
Yes.
Councilmember Johnson?
Yes.
Councilmember Wright?
Yes.
Mayor Neal?
Aye.
6 ayes.
Item C is consideration of second and final reading of ordinance 23050903, an ordinance amending the annual budget for the city of Kingston, Tennessee for fiscal year 2022-2023. Do you hear a motion for this second reading on this ordinance?
I'll make the motion.
Motion by Mr. Childs, second by Mr. Gwynn. Mr. Childs.
No.
Mr. Quinn, anything? Council? Before we call the roll, Ms. Kelly, will there be, should this be our last one? We hope. Madam Clerk, call the roll, please.
Councilmember Bradwell,
Yes.
Councilmember Childs,
Yes.
Councilmember Gwynn,
Yes.
Councilmember Johnson,
Yes.
Councilmember Wright,
Yes.
Mayor Neal.
Aye.
6 ayes.
Item D is consideration of second and final reading of ordinance 23050904, an ordinance amending the annual budget for the City of Kingston, Tennessee Water and Sewer Fund for the fiscal year 2022-2023. Do you hear a motion for this second and final reading?
I'll make the motion.
Sir. Motion by Mr. Childs, second by Mr. Bradwell. Mr. Childs, any comments?
No, sir.
Mr. Bradwell? Council? Seeing none, Madam Clerk, call the roll on the second reading of that ordinance.
Councilmember Bradwell,
Yes.
Councilmember Childs,
Yes.
Councilmember Gwynn,
Yes.
Councilmember Johnson,
Yes.
Councilmember Wright,
Yes.
Mayor Neal.
Aye.
6 ayes.
Item E is consideration of the second and final reading of ordinance 23050905, an ordinance to repeal ordinance 13212 and establish the amount in which the city manager may expend with regard to purchases and contracts for general public improvements at $25,000. Do you hear a motion for this second and final reading?
I'll make a motion.
Motion, Mr. Gwynn, second by Mr. Childs. Mr. Gwynn, any comments? Mr. Childs?
No, sir.
Council? Madam Clerk, call the roll on item E.
Councilmember Bradwell,
Yes.
Councilmember Childs,
Yes.
Councilmember Gwynn,
Yes.
Councilmember Johnson,
Yes.
Councilmember Wright,
Yes.
Mayor Neal.
Aye.
6 ayes.
Now on to new business. Item A is consideration of the first reading of ordinance 2306-1301, an ordinance adopting and enacting a comprehensive codification and revision of the ordinances of the City of Kingston, Tennessee.
I'll make the motion.
Motion by Ms. Wright, is there a second?
Second.
Second by Ms. Johnson. Ms. Wright, any comments, questions?
Just happy it's finally done.
I think there's someone else's too. Ms. Johnson, do you have anything?
No.
Council? Madam Clerk, call the roll, please.
Councilmember Bradwell,
Yes.
Councilmember Childs,
Yes.
Councilmember Gwynn,
Yes.
Councilmember Johnson,
Yes.
Councilmember Wright,
Yes.
Mayor Neal.
Aye.
6 ayes.
Item B is consideration of a resolution 2306-1301, a resolution authorizing the City of Kingston to participate in the Public Entity Partners James L. Richardson Driver Training Matching Grant Program. Do you hear a motion for this resolution?
I'll make the motion.
Motion by Ms. Wright. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Ms. Johnson. Ms. Wright, anything?
Nothing, sir.
Mr. Johnson? All these stuff is what we talked about Tuesday night in the work session. Madam Clerk, call the roll.
Councilmember Bradwell,
Yes.
Councilmember Childs,
Yes.
Councilmember Gwynn,
Yes.
Councilmember Johnson,
Yes.
Councilmember Wright,
Yes.
Mayor Neal.
Aye.
6 ayes.
Item C is consideration of resolution 2306-1302, a resolution authorizing the City of Kingston to participate in the Public Entity Partners Property Conservation Matching Grant Program.
I'll make the motion.
Motion by Ms. Wright. Is there a second? By Mr. Gwynn. Ms. Wright.
Nothing, sir.
Nothing, sir.
Madam Clerk, call the roll for that resolution.
Councilmember Bradwell,
Yes.
Councilmember Childs,
Yes.
Councilmember Gwynn,
Yes.
Councilmember Johnson,
Yes.
Councilmember Wright,
Yes.
Mayor Neal.
Aye.
6 ayes.
I think we've losed and ordinance all we can tonight. Oh, we got one more. Consideration of resolution 2306-1303, a resolution authorizing the City of Kingston to participate in the Public Entity Partner Safety Partners Matching Grant Program. Do you hear a motion for this one?
I'll make the motion.
Is there a second?
Second.
Motion by Ms. Wright, second by Mr. Childs. Ms. Wright, do you have anything?
No, I would just like to say that one of the best ways to get some of our projects and things done is to have matching money to do it. So I applaud the city manager and all the staff and getting all these grants written.
Mr. Childs.
Yes.
Council, any discussion? Madam Clerk, call the roll, please.
Councilmember Bradwell,
Yes.
Councilmember Childs,
Yes.
Councilmember Gwynn,
Yes.
Councilmember Johnson,
Yes.
Councilmember Wright,
Yes.
Mayor Neal.
Aye.
6 ayes.
Item E is consideration to authorize the mayor to execute the proposed contract between the Tennessee Department of Transportation and the City of Kingston for fiscal year 23-24. Do you hear a motion to authorize? Motion by Mr. Gwynn. Is there a second? Second by Mr. Bradwell. Mr. Gwynn, do you have anything on this?
No.
Mr. Bradwell. Madam Clerk, call the roll, please.
Councilmember Bradwell.
Yes.
Councilmember Childs.
Yes.
Councilmember Gwynn.
Yes.
Councilmember Johnson.
Yes.
Councilmember Wright.
Yes.
Mayor Neal.
Aye.
6 ayes.
Item F is consideration to authorize the mayor to execute an interlocal cooperation agreement between Rome County and the city of Kingston for planning services. Do you hear a motion for this contract between the city of Kingston and Rome County?
I'll make the motion.
Is there a second?
Second.
Motion by Ms. Wright, second by Ms. Johnson. Ms. Wright?
I just want to thank ETDD for the years of in their service and our planning services, and look forward to this cooperation between the cities in our county and our county government to come together to have our planning services right here within our county.
Right. Ms. Johnson, do you have anything?
No.
Nothing? Okay. Madam Clerk, call the roll, please.
Councilmember Bradwell.
Yes.
Councilmember Childs.
Yes.
Councilmember Gwynn.
Yes.
Councilmember Johnson.
Yes.
Councilmember Wright.
Yes.
Mayor Neal.
Aye.
6 ayes.
Item G is consideration of request to close Court Street and portions of Cumberland and 3rd Streets on July 1st for a car show.
Second.
Motion by Mr. Gwynn, second by Mr. Childs. Mr. Gwynn, any discussion?
No, this is a good thing.
Mr. Childs?
No.
Anyone else? Madam Clerk, call the roll to close those streets.
Councilmember Bradwell.
Yes.
Councilmember Childs.
Yes.
Councilmember Gwynn.
Yes.
Councilmember Johnson.
Yes.
Councilmember Wright.
Yes.
Mayor Neal.
Aye.
6 ayes.
Item H is consideration to reappoint Linda Townsend to fill one of the 3 vacancies on the Parks and Rec Commission for a 4-year term ending June 30th, 2027. Hear a motion for Ms. Townsend. We have a motion by Mr. Gwynn. Second by Mr. Bradwell. So that means we've got 2 vacancies left on the Park and Rec Board. Will we go ahead and advertise for those?
They've been
Understood. Okay. All right. Madam Clerk, call the roll to reappoint Linda Townsend.
Councilmember Bradwell.
Yes.
Councilmember Childs.
Yes.
Councilmember Gwynn.
Yes.
Councilmember Johnson.
Yes.
Councilmember Wright.
Yes.
Mayor Neal.
Aye.
6 ayes.
That's the end of the agenda. This meeting is adjourned. Now we'll go into the Kingston Beer Board regular meeting. Madam Clerk, will you call the roll, please?
Member Bradwell. Vice Chair Brown. Member Childs.
Present.
Member Gwynn.
Present.
Member Johnson.
Present.
Member Wright.
Present.
Chairman Neal.
Present. To hear a motion to approve the previous minutes,
I'll make the motion.
is there a second?
Second.
Second by Mr. Childs. Any corrections or deletions to the minutes?
No,
That's
sir.
right, Mr. Childs? Cindy? Madam Clerk, call the roll for the minutes, please.
Member Bradwell.
Yes.
Member Childs.
Yes.
Member Gwynn.
Yes.
Member Johnson.
Yes.
Member Wright.
Yes.
Chairman Neal.
Aye.
6 ayes.
No new business coming before the Beer Board tonight, so this meeting here is adjourned. Now we'll call the regular meeting of the Kingston Water Board to order. Madam Clerk, will you please call the roll for the Water Board?
Member Bradwell.
Here.
Vice Mayor Brown. Member Childs.
Present.
Member Gwynn.
Present.
Member Johnson.
Present.
Member Wright.
Present.
Chairman Neal.
Present. To hear a motion to approve the previous minutes as written.
I'll make the motion.
Second.
Motion and a second. Do you see any corrections or deletions to the minutes?
No, sir.
Madam Clerk, call the roll for the minutes, please.
Member Bradwell.
Yes.
Member Childs.
Yes.
Member Gwynn. Member Johnson.
Yes.
Member Wright.
Yes.
Chairman Neal.
Aye.
6 ayes.
Now we have time set aside for citizen comments to the Water Board. If anyone's wishing to address the Water Board tonight, please come up, state your name, your address, and your discussion. Now's the time.
All you gotta do is hang in there long enough. My name's Gerald Smith, and I live right down the street, 530 North 3rd Street. I'm here to ask a couple of questions. One is why Kingston doesn't allow a on-site system, a step system, instead of a grinder, or offer both of them. I've surveyed 27 local utilities, and they're all a little different in various ways. The grinder system's a good system, except it's a grinder. So you're gonna have problems with it. It's not a matter if you're gonna have them, it's a matter of when you're gonna have them. Step system only pumps a fluid, and you'll have I've got them that's over 18 years old. You have very little problem, and when you have a problem, they use a well pump, which is a whole lot less expensive than a grinder pump. They have
3 floats, 1 relay, and 1 audible alarm. They're real simple systems. You fix them in a matter of 45 minutes. They're easy to pull. Compared to a grinder pump, they're not even close. Some utilities in the state require a grinder system. Some require a on-site step system. And some doesn't care how you get it to the tap. Harriman's one of them. They don't care how you get your sewage to the tap. They'll take it. That may change, may not, I don't know. But anyway, that was my first question. And my second question is, if you continue to require a grinder system, I'm not sure how by law you can name a brand name. Tennessee Code Annotated, that I've researched it, and I've had 3 other people research it, allows the utility to name a kind, step, on-site. There's like 6 different systems going. Basically, those are the 2 largest systems. That's about 90% of the business. But all of them that require a brand, a specific brand, assumes ownership by, when you install that, it becomes the utility's system. And thereby, the utility can say, use a Gould, use a Step One, use a Viking. There's a dozen brands out there. There's 4 of them that's pretty close. All of them are certified by the same. If you're familiar with electrical, you'll remember with the UL symbol, Underwriters Laboratory. Pumps go on a different system. They go on a Canadian system that now has been adopted worldwide. All of them, the pump curve is almost identical. That means all of them, all the grinder systems will pump to a certain head and a certain gallons per minute within very little difference. The environmental one, E1 pump, doesn't quite match the Gould. Gould will out-pump it on both on height and gallons per minute. But that's not a discussion. What I want to know is, if you're going to continue to require a E1, are you going to follow the statutes and the example by every utility in the state that I've researched of assuming ownership when those systems are put in? So it's a real easy question. Are you going to let on-site systems come in and have a mixed system like your biggest system probably here is in the Villages Center Farm. They're all step systems. I know there's been some problems in the past about the bill and this and that. That's not an argument I'm even contended with. But if you're not going to allow on-site system, step system, are you going to continue to require a E1 pump? And if so, I need to see the statute that allows you to do that without assuming ownership. I personally don't care which one of the choices you pick, except if you're going to require an E1, you need to own the system. You'll find no statute that I found, and several other people looked to it. Every utility in the state of Tennessee that I've checked, and God knows there's plenty of them, but I've checked 27 of them. Every one of them that requires a specific brand. The Tennessee Code Annotated gives the city authority, gives the utility authority to require a kind. Now, by law, Kingston can say, we're not going to do steps. We're going to do grinders only. You're safe on that because you've got to back it. But when they say we're going to do grinder pumps and only E1s, that's when I don't think you have the authority.
Okay, Mr. Smith, whether we use grinder pumps or step systems, I think it's got to do with the situation. Not all of Center Farms is on a step system.
Not all of them.
Not all of them. The new ones that were built in the last year and a half, 2 years, all have grinder pumps. Now, as far as I know, that the policy of this water board is to use the E1 pumps. Until somebody tells us that we have to do something any different, that's the ones we're going to use. And I'll refer to Mr. Hamilton and let him get in on the discussion.
So just to answer him, Mr. Mayor, a little bit, we do, back just a few months ago, we had to submit to the state of Tennessee what they call an ownership control of the pumps. We submitted that, and they accepted underneath the E1s. What that ownership control says is it doesn't say necessarily we own it because it's on private property. What that ownership control does say is that if that pump ever comes in out of compliance or whatever, we have the authority to step in and take that over. So I think, and our city attorney can probably weigh in on this a little bit because we've been in conversations with other people, but I would think with us showing that ownership control through TDEC, which was requested by them, that would be our thing saying that we could specify what type of pump we required in our system. Is that right, Mr. Attorney?
Mr. Hamilton's correct. I don't have the statute in front of me, but to my recollection, the statute claims that a municipality either owns or must control the pumps. And so with speaking with Mr. Hamilton, the city of Kingston has a degree of control that the state was okay with.
I think there's no question the city has a degree of control of what type system and various other things. But to require a brand name, I think you're overstepped it. I don't believe you can require a brand name, especially since all of them are regulated the same way by lift, by pressure, by gallons per minute. You could throw all of them, the specifications in and draw them out, and you wouldn't notice the difference. I don't believe that you can require a certain brand.
I'm sorry, what are we talking about? Is there a location, an address? Is there an issue?
I think it's just general.
Okay,
Um,
okay.
Yeah, it's not just a specific. I think it's general.
I feel like I was missing
general
part of the,
sewer collection.
okay.
While I'm here is, I've got several of them that's probably in the future I have grinders and I have step systems.
Different locations within the city?
Well, yeah, I have county, in this county, in another county, in the city, in another city. Kingston's the only one that requires a brand name. Everywhere else if they want a grinder pump in, you put any grinder pump in. It don't make any difference to utility because they don't assume ownership maintenance.
Kevin, can you explain, if a person is hooked up to sewer, there is a need for a grinder pump in certain situations?
So if gravity's not available to them, then they would have to go to a pump system.
Okay.
Going back to sort of what Mr. Smith's talking about, the board adopted this. We passed this when D.R. Horton come into Centers Farms.
That's right.
Just sort of giving you an idea, somewhere or another in the near future, I don't know if it's going to be a year, I don't know if it's going to be 10 years, but we are pretty aware that the state wants the utility to have the ownership of all sewer.
Mm-hmm.
And what we had discussed back in the day, if we're going to have to do this and we're going to have ownership, we don't want 10 different types of pumps in here because that's going to create more money for us.
Right.
A lot, and that's why we opted to go with the E1s,
Mm-hmm.
just to do that one name brand. And like I say, going back to what Mr. Smith's talking about, not an argumentative point here, but I think the ownership control, as the city attorney spoke about, we submitted and they was okay with that.
Okay.
And I think that's where that gives us that control to specify that type of pump, because if
we're gonna own it eventually.
well,
is that what you're
absolutely.
saying?
If we're going to own it, but let's just say Mr. Smith, for instance, if he doesn't repair his pump and we get that complaint, we have that authority through TDEC and the backing of the state of Tennessee. We can go in and take that system over. Those customers would have to pay a higher rate because we're going to have to maintenance it. We're going to have to keep it up. They're going to have to sign utility easements. It's multiple things.
Right.
It's not just a small, but it's multiple things. But I think we have that control in place right now, and I think that's where we're sort of, and this is an opinion, but I think that's where we have that boundary. But like I say, in general, we done it just trying to look to the future and look ahead instead of having multiple things.
Mr. Bowley.
I'll agree with the utility director's correct. We did submit this to TDEC, and it was approved. That said, happy to get with the city attorney and research the statute to double check to make sure that we're in compliance with that. So
Thank you.
be happy to do that.
I don't doubt that you can require a grinder system. What I have a difference with, I personally think the E1's nowhere near as good as the Gold system. That's why I've got Gold.
Well, Mr. You know, you and I had this discussion earlier, several weeks ago.
Yeah, you wanted me to come here.
Yeah, I do. But you know, you're giving us one opinion of what you think, and I'm taking the opinion of my utility director that has 1,500 of these pumps out here, or ever how many. I'm not sure of the number.
No, I'm not giving you my opinion. I'm giving you 27 different utilities' opinions. Every one of them that requires a specific brand said they had to assume ownership in order to legally require that specific.
Well, I believe that Mr. Thompson, Mr. Balling will dig deeper into that.
All right, I appreciate your time.
Okay. Anyone else wishing to address the council, the water board tonight? Yes, ma'am.
Hello. My name is Mary Rutherford, and I live at 2406 Kingston Highway.
Okay.
And I've lived there for 35 years. We are on a sewer. We don't have the sewer, we have a septic tank. My bill for January was $41.67, and my previous bill was $124.58, because I'm paying for a sewer that I don't use.
Yes, ma'am. This has been an ongoing with this water board since January. Last month we voted to halt all those payments until we can get together and convene and get a better rate for customers who do not have sewer tied on. The state of Tennessee states that if you are within 500 feet of a sewer line, that you either have to tie onto that line or pay for the service. And that was adopted by this water board in 91, I believe, 1991.
Okay, now I don't live in the city limits.
Doesn't matter, ma'am. It's within the utility, because you have Kingston City Water. That is the reason. But your next bill should reflect that back down to your normal water bill. Sometime in the near future, we're going to sit down and have just a water board discussion on the sewer rates for customers who are within the distance and are not tied on. We've got several items on the water board list to go over that we need to get fixed. So I cannot sit here and honestly tell you that you're not going to still pay for sewer after that meeting. And I don't know if it'll be the same amount that it is now or if it'll be less. But I know there will be a discussion sometime soon about that by this water board.
That's what I wanted to discuss.
Okay.
Thank you.
All right. I hope that answers your questions. Is anyone else wishing to address the water board tonight? All right, City Manager's report, Mr. Bowling.
Mr. Chairman, I don't have anything outside of my written report, but I'll yield to the utility director in case he has any updates for you.
I don't really have anything, just trying to finish up the end of the year stuff, get ready to start the new year, finishing off our punch list, but other than that, we're pretty quiet.
Does anyone have any questions for Mr. Bowling or Mr. Hamilton? Okay, we're going to new business. Item 1 is consideration to authorize the mayor to enter into a contract with Water Leak Relief for water and sewer leak line protection. This is the same thing that we have now with Servline, but it's going to change, be better for our customers, raises how much money they can get back on a leak, and lowers their premium down just a little bit, but it also increases how much money that they get back for that. So do I hear a motion to approve this authorization contract?
I'll make the motion. I'll second.
Motion by Mr. Gwynn, second by Ms. Wright. Mr. Gwynn, do you have anything to talk about that?
No, it just looked like a good savings.
Yeah. Ms. Wright, do you have anything?
No, I just wanted to inform all of our water and sewer customers that they will now be able to have 2 claims a year
Two
instead
claims
of
a year,
one.
right.
And the limit is 5,000, not 2,500.
Right, it'll go from 2,500 per claim, which you got only once
So
a year,
Right,
to 2 claims a year, which it tops out at 5,000
for both claims.
for both claims, yes.
Yep.
Anyone else? Madam Clerk, call a roll for that contract.
Member Bradwell?
Yes.
Member Childs?
Yes.
Member Gwynn?
Yes.
Member Johnson?
Yes.
Member Wright?
Yes.
Chairman Neal?
Aye.
6 ayes.
Item 2 is consideration to authorize the city manager to write off utility account 0009-01184-02 in the amount of $252.38 due to a death of the customer with no estate. Do I hear a motion to write this off?
I'll make the motion.
Is there a second? Second, by Mr. Bradwell. Ms. Wright, no
Nothing, sir.
discussion? Mr. Bradwell, any discussion? Madam Clerk, call the roll to write that off the utility.
Member Bradwell?
Yes.
Member Childs?
Yes.
Member Gwen?
Yes.
Member Johnson?
Yes.
Member Wright?
Yes.
Chairman Neal?
Aye.
6 ayes.
Mr. Bowley.
Mr. Chairman, just real quick, going back to item 1, question was asked in the workshop about the process for getting out of the contract with our previous provider, and we researched that. All we have to do is give them written notice.
Okay.
So.
Thank you.
Is there anything else come for the water board tonight? Seeing none, this meeting's adjourned.